And then when you're trying to arrange, you can go to the pattern. Remember pattern 3 where we stacked up all our sounds, and then you can right click it and go split by channel. Then what it's going to do, it's going to release all the tracks that were put in here and they were stacked into their own channels. Then you can just delete this. And I'm going to add this ride to the cymbals and this crash to the cymbals as well. Then I can load my pad over here. And what you can do with pads, another great tip, is you can layer pads. You don't just need to have one pad on there. You can actually layer them as long as you EQ them nicely and you carve the sound so that they're not fighting for the same sound space. Okay, let me put on another harmless and look for a pad. I'll just start with this cinematic one and then I'll copy the same pattern on this one, put it over there. And you can even change the notes on the pads themselves so that they can move. So what you can do is you can select these, go over here on this arrow, go on group and say ungroup so that they're not linked together. There we go. And what you can do is you can now edit these notes so that it sounds different and it moves. I go to the second pad and I'll do the same. Ungroup. Now we can load this on its own channel as well, so we can edit out the overall sound of it. Let's say second pad. Take out some of the lows because they're pretty harsh. Then we'll let the first pad have all the low end. Then we can add our bass again. And our plug. Well, that's a work in progress. I still have to find a good sound for that. Oh, there we go. Those vibes sound nice. And then we can have our riser back there. So remember the 16 bars I was speaking of. So I can add everything. So we can duplicate these. Then our riser can only come on before the 16th to trigger the 17th. What you do is you can duplicate all this so you can feel the change, and then I can take these vibes out. There we go. Then now that you got your track laid out nicely, you can start working on the sounds and changing the sounds to the sounds you prefer. And also a good tip in mixing before you get on the levels first, what I would say is grouping your sounds is a very good way to go about it. Like take for instance everything else besides your drums and your bass. Then you group them into one channel so you can EQ them so that they can be in a certain frequency range. Let me show you how to do that right now. You select the pad, plug, rhythm, riser, second pad, and an extra lane here, and then go to track routing, create submix. Then I can call this my synths. There we go, and I can give this color. I can put it on this blue so I can see it. There we go. Now if I solo this, that's where all my synths are going. So now you basically know that it's rule of thumb for your synths not to have too much lows because they'll clash with the bass. So what you can do is that you can lower and also lower this side, so you have kind of a frowny face on your EQ, so that the highs on the drums can really come through over here, and the bass can also come through over here from your log and your sub, so they will give room so that they don't oversaturate everything. You can already hear that the low subs are really coming through nicely. Before you do so much compression, adding so many plugin effects and everything, you can already have a baseline sound of your track sounding really great by doing these tricks. So let me play all of it again. Go in detail about EQing, compression, and more effects on how to get your sound to sound much more harder and get much better mixes and different sounds you can choose for certain things like your plucks or different types of basses you can use on your tracks, because it's not just the log drum or the E flute you can use. There's different types of bass and how to modify them to get certain sounds and certain effects. So thanks for watching. See you next time.